T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hey, everybody. What is up? Happy Thursday and all that good stuff. I am Katrina, creator and host of In Cat We Trust, but also host and writer for Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. And we are back with another recap show of NXT. I am not alone. I have with me the absolutely lovely Shayna. Shay, how are you today?
I can't complain. I can't. So I'm doing all right.
And this is the road. Hey. This is the road to NXT Roadblock, which will be happening next week on March 7th. And there was some pretty solid wrestling and segments going in this week until next week. What is your overall thoughts about this episode?
I liked it. I think there was a lot of good things about it. There were some good matches for sure on there, and then the stuff with GiGi Dolan definitely stood out to me as well. So yeah, there were definitely things about this episode that I was definitely vibing with. So I would give it a way more on the positive side than negative for me personally.
Ooh, sorry about that, guys. New York. I agree. It definitely was some moments that was like, okay, you guys, all right. Which lead us into the very first matchup of the night with Wes Lee doing his NXT North American Open challenge for his belt, which led us to get a matchup between him and Nathan Frazier. And so this was a really solid opening in my opinion. We haven't seen Nathan Frazier since October of 2022. So when he came out, he definitely did get a welcome back chant, which was like, yay, because it's been a little minute. There was also, I guess, before the show, it was a little bit of a brawl backstage because there's always apparently stuff happening in NXT. Hey, there's always some stuff happening on NXT, and so there was a bit of a brawl. And Nathan kind of got involved in that as well. And so this was a really, again, solid matchup. I thought two fantastic athletes. This was a nice step up, I said, for Wes Lee. I felt, as far as him doing these open challenges. And there was a moment where Nathan did do like a springboard inverted DDT, which was really done well. And then he did like a superplex and a spinning neck breaker. And I was like, at moments it looked like Wes might have lost his title, just because the way it was going out. But even though all of this greatness that did happen, again, this is a fantastic match. Nathan did try to jump over, the top. He did hit the table, and Wes Lee responded with a corkscrew dive. and this wound up leading and to Wes Lee retaining his NXT North American Championship title. But again, to me, absolutely solid open to NXT. This was a really fantastic match. It was good to see Nathan Frazier back. And what are your thoughts about this matchup? I think you muted.
This is iconic. This is sick. Okay, so I would have to say I agree with you. I thought it was a really fantastic match, and I think that they're just so gifted. They really are. And I was really happy to see Nathan Frazier because I've always been very big on him because when it becomes between those ropes, he's always going to give you 110% with like what he provides. I'm just happy to see him back, and I think that he's definitely going to be a big game changer, and he's definitely going to be making some moves. I see him touching the North American title at some point, 100%. When, I'm not sure, but it will happen. It will, 100%. I really feel confident in saying that.
Yeah, it was a really good open. Like I said, it was nice to kind of see him again, considering he was gone for a little bit. But this was a great way to open up. I was very impressed with what they did in this matchup. I thought this was a good way to open up. And so, we'll see. I agree. I do think we probably at some point will see him touch the title. Again, you can never know with NXT sometimes or WWE in general with how they decide to do stuff. But it was a really solid matchup. Yes, absolutely fantastic match. And so there was, before we get to the next match, there was a little segment where Josh Briggs kind of asked Jensen Brooks to kind of focus on their matchup because they had a tag team matchup versus in this share, and certain somebody was there irritating my soul. He was there. But this was an okay match, I guess. It was decent. Um, for the most part, I don't think this match landed as lasted as long as I guess I should have. I guess if you're trying to have this really big feud between them, it felt like it was way more on in this share side, which kind of made me sad because it's not like this. Brooks and Jensen. It's not they can't. They can't. Excuse me, Briggs and Jensen. It's not like they can't wrestle. They can, and so it was unfortunate that the fact that Brooks was supposed to be a bit distracted, I guess, kind of made the reason why he couldn't get the win in this match like he needed to. But it wound up being that Sangha did choke slam and then threw him for a clothesline for them to get the win in this matchup. And then afterwards, I believe, afterwards, Raggedy Jinder Mahal felt the need to say that he would finish the feud at Roadblock, which I'm gonna assume means this is not we're now getting the 6 man. So I believe it's gonna be Damon Kemp. I believe just gonna have the six. So it's gonna be a 6-on-6. Blah blah blah. But yeah, I was like, I mean, I guess I didn't like the way it made them look. Honestly, I felt they could have done this better without making them look. It as it protected them in a way because he was supposed to be distracted, but I felt like with the skills that they had, I wasn't happy with the fact that it looked like they were like completely outmatched, and that kind of like, what is this? But I guess, what was your thoughts about this matchup?
I what I will say is I do notice that they did opt to go more instead of focusing on a match and more so focusing on progressing a storyline, which is the one with Jensen and Kiana. And I was a little disappointed with that as well. I would have liked if they were a little bit more locked in and we really got, I think we definitely would have got a really great match, but it was definitely watered down and shortened, of course, to sell that Jensen's really going through it because he can't get Kiana on the phone because her tag partner does absolutely too much and she don't know how to mind her business. It's sick. But you know what, Jensen? You're always distracted. I'm done with the whole I'm distracted all the time. You're always distracted. Get it together. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate, and I do think a part of it has to do with this whole thing with the ladies, but I don't know. Maybe they can get it together. I was a bit like annoyed just because I'm like, yeah, why are you acting like they're scrubs? Like they're not. Like, why are we doing this? I didn't particularly like that. That's where they went with it, but I guess we'll see what's gonna happen next. But it was, I mean, I guess this is what we're doing for this matchup. I guess this is where we're gonna go. And so next up, we did have a segment with Miss GiGi Dolan. Don't y'all start. I see the comment. Don't start. Don't start with the shit. Don't do it. We had a segment with GiGi Dolan, where she pretty much saying she's going to end toxic attraction, like it's gonna be done. And so during this, they kind of had a GiGi kind of compared the betrayal of Jacy to like abuse from her mom, which I kind of side eye because it felt like that's a bit extreme of a comparison. I feel like, are we gonna ignore all the stuff Toxic Attraction was doing prior to the betrayal when Mandy was there? Like, you guys was part of a lot of shenanigans. And so I was kind of a little bit, I'm not sure how to feel about this promo. I don't know. I'm assuming if you're gonna put that kind of situation, it must have happened, and I do, feel sympathetic to that if that's true, because you don't want to be in a situation where that's a terrible thing to be in. However, I felt like they could have done something else to make that sound better. I just feel like that's a very aggressive approach to compare her of all the tag teams we had in WWE history and all the betrayals we have had. Really? I feel like, yeah, if they was trying to recreate Shawn Michaels betray of Marty Jannetty and all, but I was just like, that seems a bit drastic of a comparison considering all the many turns of tag teams. Like, what? Like shot. Like, think of when the Hardy Boys, when they split up the first time, and I was like, no, I was devastated. But also, like, Matt was doing his shenanigans, and I'm like, they brothers, okay? How do you think they feel? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're actually blood brothers, and there was betrayal there, So like, if it wasn't being compared to like, oh, mom, because their mom did pass, like, it's like my mom, like, what? That's such a drastic step up to go. And so I don't know how I felt about it, because it was just like, why was this the comparison you made, like, of all the things? And also, GiGi, yeah, it's, I guess, your face now, but like, sis, you was involved in a lot of shenanigans with people going for Mandy, or people that was going for you guys. You guys engaged in a lot of shenanigans. This is where you want to draw the line, talking about some parental abuse, sis. And so I did side eye that because I didn't know how to feel. But I guess we'll see what they're gonna do next week, since we're getting that matchup at our Roadblock. But I did side eye that. I just felt like that was a very drastic comparison of all the things you could have said. I was like, well, sorry if this happened, right? That I'm sorry. No, nobody wants to have to deal with that. That sucks. But also, why would you compare? I am quite sure her turning her back on you is not parental, abuse. I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I was just. I guess if that's where we're going, and exactly, like, they're brothers, okay? And at no point of all the situations, and everybody loved to mention Jeff's, um you know, yeah, well, under, the denial how we all felt about being bamboozled, because they're not really related. I thought they were for a long time, until I was like, wait, no, they're not related. When they tried that nonsense of Christian Edge about they were brothers, and the next minute they were best friends, and I was like, I remember when y'all was supposed to be brothers, and now you're just best friends. So at least with Jeff and Matt Hardy, they're actual brothers. They're biologically related. And at any point, while they have mentioned Jeff's struggles, because Jeff had some struggles and Matt had some struggles outside of wrestling, there's never the weird thing like, let's mention parental situations, because this is an odd thing to do in a situation like this. But I guess if this is where we're going with this, hopefully they can deliver next week, and I can just erase that promo out of my head, because I was just like, but why is this where we're going? But yeah, what was your thoughts about that promo?
So for me, I liked it, and I'm gonna explain to you why. I'm gonna tell you right now. What I liked about it is, and what I've gathered about GiGi, from seeing how she is, she's one of those people. She's very intense, and she likes to make things as intense as possible and bring out as much emotion as she possibly can. Even the photo you put, she's not afraid to make a face. Like, she's a beautiful girl, but she's not afraid to make an ugly face to really get the point across and really have that grittiness about her. And I feel like also the storyline itself felt very vain, like the reasoning behind why they were even fighting in the first place. So maybe this was her way of kind of bringing a little bit of realness and maybe something a little bit more, like, you know, when they say meat and potatoes, it adds a little bit more, because before it was just like, okay, two girls, one girl wants to be more relevant than the other. You know, it's very vain. With that, it adds, like, she can say, you triggered something in me, you know, and it brought me back to a place, and it snapped me out of reality. It snapped me back into where I need to be. And so that could kind of be a stepping stone for GiGi moving into the baby face. And I agree, she has done a lot of stuff, and it's still so soon for her to, like, now be trying to dive so deep into being like a baby face, especially after everything. And it's been a lot. But I like that she wanted to go there. She wanted to make everyone as uncomfortable as possible to know her pain and what she's been through, and how Jacy triggered that with that attack. Because in a way, I guess, she felt a kinship towards Jacy that went beyond just like a tag partner. And so she kind of related the two in a betrayal way. So I liked it on that stance, and I just loved her delivery because it felt so ugly. Like, it was just like the faces she was making, it was like ugly and like real and raw. And I feel like that's something GiGi always brings to the table, is very like raw, authentic. And so that's just something that's always drawn me to her. So I liked it for that reason, because it gave the story more legs to stand on. I can't really take too much on, I want to be cooler than her. That is just not a storyline that I really want to invest my time in. So it gave a little bit more legs to stand on. That's the only thing. But I do agree with the stuff you said as well, I will say.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, I guess it was like delivered well enough. It just, I don't know. I feel like that's such a leap. I mean, from like speaking from like a person who's been through a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. Some you are aware of. You know, I've been through a lot, and I've never, at no point would I be like, this is gonna be the line. I'm like, you know, this kind of make me think of these like 20 bad things. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I know how that felt. I know how those situations felt or something, and I'm like that. It's like you got a betrayal like everybody wrestling gets, unfortunately. You know, when like tag teams all break up and you're like, why? And even if they get back together, you always remember that first betrayal. Like, no, why? If you love them or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, that's such an extreme place to go. I mean, and I do think it's too soon, because like maybe what, 4 weeks ago, it was a very different thing, sis. I didn't forget how you was treating Roxanne. I didn't forget. It's like, so you sitting here talking about like, oh, you remind me of my mom's abuse. Like, sis, Roxanne is young. And y'all was ready to like double team, triple team, all types of nonsense. And did you feel sad for Roxanne? Did you be like, well, maybe I could be a big sister role and be nice and bring her into NXT? No, you was hating. And so I can't like, and that's why I can't buy. Like, it's like I really, JC's weird a lot. Really, like Alba Fire, like literally had to like kidnap you guys at one point, so you guys would stop interfering and stuff. Like, that's what you guys was doing, that you had to be kidnapped in the parking lot, because everything happens in the parking lot. And this is where you want to draw the line about parental abuse. So what do you call this? Like, I just need to understand how do we jump to this logic. I feel like if we had some more time with, maybe if like Jacy did other things, like maybe she popped at Gigi's house or something. Like, and then maybe I'm like, all right, like if you're not at somebody's home, you know, that might be a boundary we should be crossing. Or like maybe she kidnapped her in the parking lot because everything goes down in the parking lot, and then she like put some videos up of like, oh, remember when this happened with your mom? And then you be like, this triggered me. You know, then it's like maybe this triggered you, but the kid do the thing, which was even nowhere near the level of Shawn Michaels. Get real. I couldn't, and I feel like I agree it's vain, and like how like you gotta accept it. There's always a member that's better in the group. We have to accept this. There's the Beyonce, there's the Michael Jackson, there's, you know, like there's always the member you're like, it's a little better in the group. This bit, you know. So I just
You know,
I don't know. I feel like it should have been like, if we're gonna get a speech like this, it should have been a lot of time, because literally like 4 or 5 weeks ago she was trying to beat up Roxanne, and it makes me Roxanne like the sweetest pie, maybe a bit naive, because she's trying to, hey, and everybody's not gonna be yay happy, but like you was just trying to beat her up. Like I was talking about we gonna tag team and beat her up. It's nothing gonna break us. That was you, GiGi. And so I just find this hard. It's just like, how do we go here? I feel like something is missing in the middle for you to go from here to here. I felt like it just went straight there, and I'm like, oh, all right. But I guess we'll see.
I don't know why they felt the need to rush it. I think they could have, because I do agree, it's like such a big jump, especially when just like maybe 3 weeks ago it was a different story and she was bullying Roxanne. That's what it was. That's what they were doing. So I think they should have. I don't even think they should have had a match on Roadblock. I think they should have utilized that to give more time to make it. They just need an adequate amount of time. Because it's like it's too soon. I feel like they should have just waited till Stand and Deliver. Give it a little bit more weeks so it was feeling more, it would make more sense instead of just jumping, because it was a big jump to go from how she was totally fine with getting back with Jacy and going about their crazy ways until, Jacy put the boot on her side of her face. Um, so it is like they definitely should have just not even had a match at Roadblock. Like they definitely should have left it for Stand and Deliver, if anything. So yeah, yeah, it needed more time.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I felt like it's too soon to go like that route, because there's just too much you guys did. Like y'all was in a lot of shenanigans with a lot of people, a lot of women in the division. Y'all was doing shenanigans too, and now it's, oh, my mom's like, imagine if like somebody else pulled that up, like because of what they was doing. I don't know how they got there. I feel like it's like, and maybe it's the writer part of me that's like, so how did we get this? Like, I feel like this is an end point, and maybe that's what it is. It's just like, where's the middle part? How did we get here?
You know what I'm thinking? I think maybe GiGi felt like because they gave her so little time, like, because I feel like they had very little time to make this, feud really something to be like putting on for a special event or for a pay-per-view. Sorry, PLE. Jeez. So I feel like maybe if I could think where GiGi would be at, I'm just like, how can I make this scene even more in depth in a short amount of time? And so I think maybe she was just like, let's go with that. So I'm trying to think, because I'm like, it is very drastic. So I'm thinking maybe she was trying to make up for lost time, because they didn't get a lot of time to really build this on something true. It's very short. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I guess we shall see. We shall see what they do next. And so after that segment, there's a couple more segments. There was one with JD McDonough warning Island Dragunov that he would pay for injuring him, another person in Delusion Land, about all the stuff he was doing to people. So like, if just Delusion Land, apparently at NXT. I was like, did we also forget what you was doing, JD? Like, you was doing pure shenanigans, okay? Popping up in audiences, doing all types of weird stuff, and then all of a sudden now it's like people got to pay. Well, maybe this is your karma, my guy. Maybe this is your karma. Maybe this is what you get for what you have done. And then it was also a segment with Duke Hudson apologizing at the before they lead his class, which was interrupted by the Schism as they kind of berated everybody in Chase U. And then Andre Chase kind of challenged Joe Gacy for next week at Roadblock. And then we have my guy, which I wouldn't even give my presence to, Shawn Michaels, agreeing to come on the Grayson Waller effect next week. Uh yeah, and I mean, personally, if I was Shawn, he wouldn't get the time of the day, because how dare you try to disrespect one of the greatest guys, sports entertainers of all time. But I mean, I guess Shawn want to be nice today. Maybe he's feeling nice this week. You know, it's hitting, March, new month. Maybe he's like, you know what, this is fine. But I guess, and I'm gonna be annoyed. So I don't want to have to send bad tweets, but I will. Like, I just feel like, why are we doing this? Shawn should know better. He is Shawn Michaels. You're supposed to know the shenanigans. You're supposed to be ahead of the shenanigans, because you did a lot of shenanigans over the years. You're supposed to be aware of this. Don't be getting, into the suits and now all of a sudden you don't know that you're not hip to the game. I don't know. But with that being said, those were the segments. So what were your thoughts about those segments?
I am a JD apologist, as I am a Kang apologist. You know, I'm just act like I didn't see it. He didn't do nothing. He's innocent. But I mean, I'm excited. I can't wait for this match. I mean, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be crazy. Like, I think they might have a match tonight. I know that's a crazy thing throw out there, but I really feel that way. And then in terms of the whole situation with Grayson, I hope that Shawn brings some backup. Like, maybe he'll bring someone, be like, "Oh, I came here to tell you that you have a match. Suit up," and he brings somebody that is just ready to beat him down. I want to see him get beat up bad. I want him to be knocked out on his own live. I'm gonna be on his live because I know he's gonna be streaming from his little phone, and I want to see him knocked out. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he better bring some backup. Shawn better act like he hip to the game. Like, don't play, cause like you done too much shenanigans to not know when the shenanigans is happening. I'm just like, you think Grayson gonna just talk to you all regular, all willy nilly, and not do shenanigans? Of course he is. Of course he is. And so, and then JD is just like, how dare you? How dare you? Like, what have you done since you've been JD? What have you? You've done a lot of stuff. Like, let's, sometimes universe is like, whoo, here's your karma, and that's what happened. He got a little injury. Well, maybe be better, be a better person, and you won't have eye injuries. Okay, I'm just gonna stop these shenanigans, acting like he don't know why. Like,
A part of me feels like he's like faking it. Like, I don't know
he
why.
probably is faking it because he got time to. My eye is injured, knowing how important sight is, I don't got time to be threatening people right now. Like, make sure my eye is okay, and then I can come back and threaten. Because I can threaten you with both eyes, with two good eyes. You can threaten with one good eye, you threaten with both. So, it just, we'll see. Like, social media king. See, this is what I'm talking about. You guys come here with these type of shenanigans. King of what? Of shenanigans? Yes. Of social media? No, absolutely not. No, I'm not sitting there hyped for Grayson's little tweets. I'm annoyed. That's what I'm at. Okay, annoyed. I can tell you guys always gotta do the shenanigans every time, every week. I'll be trying with y'all, okay? And so next up, we had some ladies action with my girl, the final boss, Miko Satomura versus Zoe Stark. And so I'm sorry. That's exactly what he deserves. What's worse than McDonald's? Whatever is worse than McDonald's is where he needs to be. Whatever's worse. You can't get the top, no. And so this was some ladies action, and this was definitely very physical. Roxanne did come out before the match started off to kind of go on commentary, as she will be going against Satomura, which I thought they was gonna wait till WrestleMania, but I'm guessing not. I thought they were gonna wait till like that weekend to do that matchup, but it will be next week at Roadblock, which I was a little surprised by. But she was there kind of hyping up this matchup, and so this was a really physical match. I thought this was really, really well done. There was a Zoe did like a clothesline to Mako, and they did like a springboard clothesline, and Mako did like a stiff kick, which I was like, yes, let people know, what's going on with that. And then there was one point where Miko did like a frog splash, which I thought was really well done. And then Zoe responded with like a springboard corkscrew, which I thought was, again, this was really well done. One of my favorite matches of the night. However, though, because again, she is the final boss. She is the final boss, and she did what she needed to do. And again, I don't know how Zoe was talking all this smackety smack, like she wasn't losing. Like, why couldn't she pull this out? I'm gonna rant real quick. Why did she pull this out during Mandy Rose? Okay, like, you was fighting Mandy Rose and losing to Mandy Rose, but now you want to be all extra physical with it's just, again, what am I like? Why are we not getting it together? You could have done, maybe if you would have done all this, you could have took the title from Mandy in the first place. Like I wanted you to take the title off of Mandy, and you lost, and then you was getting beat up and stuff. And so it's just like, how is this now you want to be all aggressive because now it ain't your time? But afterwards, yes, Miko Satomura did win with a Fireman's Carry Slam and a Scorpio Rising, and she is who she is, final boss. And then we got a little, handshake between her and Roxanne, as they will be fighting next week at Roadblock. But I was just like, it's the audacity, because sis, where was all of this energy from Mandy Rose? Okay, clearly you were the better, it just, no. With Zoe Stark had a couple of situations where she really could have been doing some stuff, and she wasn't doing, like, what are you doing? Now all of a sudden you want to being all aggressive. You should have been aggressive when Mandy was here. Now you want to get upside yourself and act all brand new. Okay, it's the audacity. Like, all I'm saying is, hey, Bobby. And so she lost as she should, because I don't know why she thought she was supposed to go against Micro. Like, who are you? You gotta get in line, okay? She's going against the champion. Here you cut talking about, I got a problem with you. Get to the back of the line. And try. I just don't get me started, because it was just shenanigans. I was like, I remember Zoe was getting beat up, and I was hyped for Zoe. I was hyped for her to take the title, and I'm like, Mandy just beat up everybody. People who clearly, like, Mandy got better. She did. And I respect that she took the time to get better. But we're not going to lie. Again, let's not live in delusion land. Delusion land, with people thinking Mandy. No! Mandy got better, but she was not the best of the group. And yet, I was acting like she was just beating everybody. I'm like, so we're going to just ignore this? So hard thinking she's going to take on the final boss, like, it's going to be light work. Because, like, sis, she ain't the final boss for nothing. But yeah. What was your thoughts about this matchup?
Zoe literally asked for it. I just had to laugh a little bit, because it's like, you really could have been having a peaceful Tuesday, but you wanted to fight. And I just love how Soul was just looking at her like, when she walked out and Zoe was walking to the back, I'm like, yeah, you deserve that. You deserve that. Yeah, I really enjoyed the match. It was very physical, which I expected. I think Zoe is so good. Like, the more I see her in the ring, the more I'm like, I love it. I love it. It's just, I need a little bit more on the character side. That's it. But in ring, it's chef's kiss to me. Mako, I guess I'm guessing they really want to showcase Tiffany at Stand and Deliver, because I do think, she already staked her claim. So I think that's why, but it's like, yeah, they probably should have waited till, like, I would love to see Roxanne and Mako on, like, Stand and Deliver. I think that would have been something very cool to see, and it would have added tremendously to the card, 100%. But we are here, and I think that Tiffany will do her thing, but we will cross that bridge when we get to that. Great match. Zoe, I don't know where you're going. I don't know what's going on with you. We know, as Jeffrey said, she's been impressing people on the main roster. So maybe that's her next journey. And I'm excited for wherever she goes, because I know that she's always going to put on a match that's worth, like, yes.
Oh no, yeah, that about to get me started again. I do think she can wrestle. That's why I wanted her to beat Mandy Rose so bad. And then I was like, what is this? She falls to Mandy. What's this? So for her to be all like, you could have done this before, and maybe we would have had a different outcome. But here we are. But yeah, I definitely do think if she ends up on the main roster, she'll be an asset. Most definitely. I do think she does need to work a little bit on character work. But maybe that's why she's still in NXT, and hopefully that'll change a little bit, or maybe she does. Maybe she does need a manager. Sometimes some people are just better with having somebody behind them, and it works, and maybe that'll help her get better. But I don't know who would be a good enough manager for her that wouldn't interfere with any other storyline and make it make sense. So I guess we'll see. And so after that, Dijak did agree to face Tony D'Angelo in a jailhouse street fight. And so yeah. What are your thoughts? I will slander until the end of time, okay? Because yeah, we're gonna stop sitting here acting like, I get you. Mandy is very pretty. Yes, she's pretty, and again, I appreciate that she did clearly get better from her days on the main roster. But no, she was not better than a good chunk of those women in NXT. And we're gonna stop again. Let's get out of delusion land. We're gonna take a flight out of delusion land. Okay, just one-way flight out of delusion land, and stop acting like she was no, she was not. We're not gonna lie like that, okay? I'm not gonna lie on a good Thursday about no, we're not doing that today. Just take the trip out of delusion land. she deserves the slander because how? I'm still upset. Okay, you know, I was upset about how they did. I'm like, oh, we're gonna just ignore, like, it's better than all these people. No, 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 no. I do respect that she got better, but we're not gonna act like she was the best thing since sliced bread in NXT. We're not gonna lie like that. Okay, let's not lie. Let's not put that kind of negativity in the air. That's negativity. We're not doing that today. Uh, what are your thoughts about the Dijak Tony D'Angelo match that we're also getting next week?
The jailhouse fight. First and foremost, why would y'all name it that? Like, literally just having a hardcore match. You could have just had a hardcore match. Because jailhouse, like, what are y'all gonna be behind bars? Like, how does this match work? They didn't even say how it worked. Can I know? What are we doing? I just feel like it's very, like, I feel like Tony might win, but I also feel like maybe Stacks might turn. I don't know why I'm feeling this, but I really think Stacks might turn. I'm thinking maybe I'm probably like super like mind gaming myself, but I feel like that time period where Stacks spent a lot of time with Dijak when he had him kidnapped and all that stuff. I feel like they could have a big like plan or something. I don't know why I'm doing this thought process. I'm probably working myself so hard into something that's not happening, but I would like to see it. I think it would be very cool and different. And I just want to see Stacks doing a little bit more. So we'll see what goes on with Tony. I do love Tony too. It's not like I want to see him get beat up, but I think that'll be very interesting, captivating. I don't think he's been in a very captivating storyline for a little minute now. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with regards. I don't know why it's called Jailhouse. I whatever. I don't know why they went with that. They definitely could have just been a hardcore match, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I do think it will be entertaining, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And so next up, we had some more ladies action between Elektra Lopez and Sol Roca, who again has been really just impressing me with stop you guys. I'll get to that comment in a second. Like stop. They can. Um but she's been really really impressing me with you know uh with with her work. I feel like, so before the matchup, apparently Zoe felt the need to still down Sol Roca, which I mean maybe that's where she's going next, which again just made no sense because it was like you did all this to kind of decide now we're going for her. And so there was a moment I think Sol did like a cartwheel splash, and then Elektra did like a slam solo turnbuckle, which I guess was good on Elektra. I was like, okay, all right. And there was again Elektra doing what she does. Where I think she wanted to use some brass knuckles, and I didn't understand. Valentina did take them from her, which allowed Silvaker to do a soul snatcher, which I absolutely love. I think that's such a good move for her, and she got the win, which also led to I think they showcased Sol Roca better than anything, and I feel like again she's shining more and more with each performance. And I don't know where they're going with this whole Elektra Lopez and the whole like brass knuckles thing, and then Elektra did push Valentina, which did lead to like her being hit with the brass knuckles, which I'm just like, you know what, sis, that's what you deserve. Because why are we doing all this? But it was a quick match. But I do appreciate Sol Roca because I feel like she's shining, and I like that we're getting that. And so, what were your thoughts of this match?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't a super long match, but it didn't need to be because it got across what it needs to get across. The whole thing with Elektra and Valentina, I was a little shocked by that because I felt like, what does Valentina have going on? I really thought she was gonna just turn heel and maybe enter into a new journey, something, because before that it was nothing. But I guess now they've opted to go more with her having a thing with Elektra. But I'm like, so have you guys just given up on Elektra? Like, because who's gonna win this? Is it just like a whole thing that's gonna be created just for Elektra to beat her up? Or is it the other way around? Then it's like Elektra has already been taking a lot of questionable losses so far. since her return. And I feel like what's going on? Now I'm getting a little confused because I thought at one point she was creating like a little bit of a faction because we had seen her with Lola, and then we had seen her with Valentina. I was like, that would be cool, definitely. We obviously need a new faction for real because we lost Toxic, but they didn't go that route. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out where are they headed with this. And I do love Sol Ruka. Like, she's just so good, and she's just great. And I also love how Booker was like, stay out of corners. Like, yeah, I love that about her move. It's like you're scared almost. That is such a mind game in itself that when you walk into the ring with her, you're already like terrified to hit the corners. She's already kind of winning on some level because now you're nervous. So yeah.
Sorry guys. My bad. I don't know what just happened. It was just bad things went past my window. I'm so sorry. New York City. But yes, I absolutely love the Soul Snatcher. Again, I think I love a move where it's like surprise. Okay, you know what? We moved past him, and here you go. Here you go, just with these shenanigans. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like the time he will be somewhere do these shenanigans. But yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. I was like, oh damn, there's like a whole line of cars. Like, I don't know what's going on, but my bad. But again, I do like Soul Ruka. I do like the aspect that it's kind of like an RKO to an extent where it's like, oh, you kind of really might not know when it's coming, and I like that. And so I feel like she's getting better and better and better. But yeah, I'm again looking forward to seeing what she does. I don't know what's happening with Elektra or Valentina, I'm gonna be honest, but we'll see. So then there was a segment with Mark Coffey and Wolfgang kind of having a moment where he pushed Wolfgang to be angry. And then Wolfgang beat up some nearby pool player, which I was like, oh, poor man who was just there minding his business, trying to enjoy a good game of pool. He got beat up, which led to Kit and Elton of Pretty Deadly, kind of inviting them to face off next week as well. So what were your thoughts about that? I'm actually in Queens. Sorry, it's Queens. Yeah, but what were your thoughts about that little segment?
I'm sorry, okay, yeah, what was the segment again? Because this literal comment literally made me forget all my thoughts because all I heard was crime time in my head. I swear to you when I read it. Like, please just tell me again who was the
Listen, don't get me started on crime time. There's pure shenanigans with them. Pure shenanigans. I was like, why am I gonna be all like this extra ghetto for like why are we doing this? But it was pretty much a segment where Wolfgang beat up some random pool guy who was just trying to enjoy a good Tuesday game of pool. And the poor man got beat all up, and that's what led them to getting a match for Pretty Deadly for next week.
I'm excited because I want Pretty Deadly to win back their titles. Yes, I said their titles because they already had to deal with whatever New Day decided to do. Like they literally just came to NXT to make Pretty Deadly's life hard and then just vanished. It's so sick. Nasty work right there. I can't believe it. So yeah, I think they're gonna have a really, really good match too. Because one thing about Pretty Deadly is they definitely be dressing, but they also be wrestling. So we love them, and I'm just excited. I guess Gallus wanted to find a way to kind of make them look even more like evil by just randomly attacking someone. I could have done without the segment though. So
yeah, I agree. Why you? I like Pretty Deadly. They're pretty cool. So next up, before we get to the match, there was a segment because again, the parking lot is where all the diabolical stuff happens. There was a segment with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter finding Wendy Chu laid out in the parking lot. And because of this, Tiffany kind of mocked Wendy, which apparently made Katana feel away, which led up to this matchup between Tiffany Stratton versus Katana Chance. And so this is a solid matchup that happened. And so I did feel like Katana, again, because she's a little bit quicker and like Tiffany is good, but obviously you can tell who's here longer, and you can see that in this matchup. I thought Katana definitely was athletically better and quicker than her in this matchup. I think there was a moment Katana like had Tiffany over the second rope and hit like a diving foot stomp, which I thought was, pretty solid. But during this match, because it really wasn't that long of a match, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn make an appearance, which allowed Katana to be distracted, and Tiffany did a rolling fireman's carry into a moonsault to win the match. I do think Tiffany is getting better. Oops, sorry, as a performer. But it was a really short match, and I'm not even sure, like, what we're doing with them as a team with regards, for them. And I feel like even with the fact that Isla and Alba keeps popping up, I feel like they're gonna give them the titles very soon. Uh so we shall see. I mean, who knows? It's the parking lot. The parking lot has a lot of shenanigans all the time. But otherwise it was okay, I guess. And then Tiffany did lay out a challenge to Roxanne, which I'm like, once again, while you are clearly, we can see where they're going with this, and you're getting better. How do you think? I just feel like, why do everybody get on NXT is like, oh, I'm challenging people, and it's like, okay, do we not build ourselves up to make it to that level? It's just like we're gonna get a title now. We just say, I'm gonna challenge you, and it's, oh, challenge, and it's like, sis, do we think did you make it there enough yet to be like you're the next challenger? Are we really playing these kind of games? Like, even with some of the matches, you even had, like, we haven't really seen Tiffany, and we, like, they make her matches kind of short. It's like, what can you even do to Roxanne, who's like Roxanne? I just need people to be like, again, get out of delusion land. I feel like people got to use some real think real hard about, does this sound logical? It's not sounding logical to me that she want to challenge Roxanne. But I guess. But what was your thoughts about this matchup, and I guess the challenge that she made afterwards?
I mean, I like the match. I wouldn't say it's like some amazing, like, my goodness, it was a 15-time limit match. It was the best match I've ever seen. But it was a really, really, it was fun. It was a lot of high flying, and Tiffany's PME, it's so good. Like, the height that she gets, and she just always lands it perfect. Like, geez. What I will say is, I definitely 100% can say Roxanne is going to give Tiffany her best match so far. And that's no shade to nobody else, but it's just like Roxanne is a different breed. And it's a different breed than Tiffany has been met with. So I'm excited to see that. Tiffany always gives me like, I'm going to skip the line, I don't care vibes. So for her, it made sense. Now, when certain other people who it doesn't give that same vibe, I'm like, who told you was getting the title match? But for Tiffany, it kind of makes sense with her character. Kaden and Katana, they are working my last available nerve. Because why do y'all always got something to say? You're always pointing the finger. Every time they're always around the corner. You did it. You did it. I wouldn't say it was them, because I genuinely think the person that is the person attacking people in the parking lot is going to be someone completely new, or it's going to be someone completely changed up. It's going to be a re-reveal. It's not going to be someone that, is already on TV every week. That's just what I think. But Kaden and Katana, enough is enough. If you're a heel, just say that. I'm done. Y'all are heels. The tweener stuff is not going to work for me much longer. It isn't.
Yeah, I have to agree with regard to. I guess we'll see with them. We'll see. We will see. But I'm just like, Roxanne, like, it's the audacity. I guess, we'll see what's gonna happen with that. And so next up, we had a matchup between Hank versus Axion, and and it was a pretty decent match. So before this, Hank tried to apologize to Axiom during that brawl backstage in the beginning, which led in, because they kind of came to blows, this led to this matchup. And so I thought this was pretty solid. I thought Hank did well trying to match, moments where he tried to match up with Axion. And there was even times where I thought Axion really sold really, really, really well to make Axion look better. Honestly. There was a moment where Axion did like a bunch of chops and kicks and then a crossbody. Which I thought was really done well. And then Hank did like some clothesline, like he like spun him into turnbuckle and did to the clothesline, which I thought was really good. And again, this was pretty solid match. I thought both of them did well, and Axion did what he needed to do. He did win this matchup. Putting him, away with his golden ratio. And I thought that it was kind of nice to kind of finally see Hank really doing some stuff here, like considering I like that they're finally kind of making him look like a competitor and not like he don't know what he like if he belongs in the wrestling ring. And so I thought that was good. I thought it was a good matchup for Axion. Axion just happened to be a little quicker, and I think he is the better wrestler of the group. But it was done really well in regards to that. And then Hank even kind of gave him some respect afterwards. Excuse me, Axion kind of gave respect to Hank afterwards, guys, saying, I guess, good match. And so I like that they gave him some more time, and maybe he'll keep tweaking and getting better. But it was a solid match for what it was worth. What were your thoughts on that matchup?
I was just trying to figure out why Hank was in the brawl in the first place. Like, stop playing with me. I get it. Okay, now he has this little onesie. Nice. Because before he used to come to the ring, and I was like, if you don't get up out of here and go tie up some lug nuts, because that's what you look like you dress for. You don't look like you're dressed to wrestle. You look like you're ready to tune up a car. Sorry. So I just wasn't really feeling him. This match, I gotta say, this is definitely his best match. Hands down, like immediately. And that's what Axiom does. You better know it. Yeah, but again, Hank, you shouldn't have been in a brawl in the first place to do that. You shouldn't. It is ridiculous. I want to prove myself to Drew. I want to prove myself. You want to prove yourself to two. One man had you looking like a pretzel. The other watched as you was the pretzel. He didn't even feel the need to take his boots back. That's how much he thought. And you want to prove yourself? Enough is enough. Really, actually. I'm glad Axiom won, because I might have shot through the roof if he beat Axiom. I really would have. I swear to you.
Oh man, not the pretzel. Maybe he's also. I feel like Delusion Land is very alive and well in NXT. He was in Delusion Land, that he felt like he could just do all this after getting beat up the times he got beat up, because he definitely did. But he did. This is definitely his best match. I definitely agree. He's gotten better. And hopefully they'll continue to have him get better and not be all confused. Poor man, sometimes I feel very confused as far as what's going on. Like, the man's confused. And so, listen, we all know Shay does not really like Hank, and we are aware of this. We have accepted, he was definitely a pretzel. He definitely was. And so I definitely we maybe he'll get better going forward, and he won't be looking all confused, because sometimes I'm like, bro, do you even know what we're doing right now? Like, do you know you wrestling? Like, you aware of this? We'll see. I'm hoping he gets a little better. But yeah, which is leading up. Hey, thank you so much for popping in. We are well, thank you. Maybe he does need NXT level up, because sometimes he really, I don't know if he be knowing what he be doing with regards to, if he, unless he, like, you're a wrestler, right? Like, we aware, you're aware of your surroundings, because like Delusion Land is alive and well in NXT. And so we'll see. But this leads us up to the last match up of the night between Tyler Bate and Carmelo Hayes. And so in the beginning, earlier in the night, they had a really solid video package to kind of hype up Tyler Bates. But this was another fantastic match. Absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I am a big Tyler Bate fan. I think he's not hyped up enough. And I love some Carmelo Hayes. I thought, this was just an absolutely fantastic match. There was a couple of moments I really appreciated. I think there was Tyler tried to do like a bop and bang, and Carmelo did like an airplane spin, which again really well done. Uh, and then there was even like him finally doing it, Tyler doing the bop bang, and then he did like a rebound clothesline. There was moments where it was like a lifted cutter, which was really well done. It was like a diving axe kick, again really well done. There was so many moments of this matchup for me that just really made me appreciate, them as competitors. And like I just like the stars that they're definitely clearly going to be. And this was just so well done. And this was obviously leading up to kind of like he needed to get past this to go against Braun Breaker, which makes sense. But I don't know. It's very well could be, he could be the champion like very soon, actually. I thought like, and this is like, the NXT crowd sometimes you're not always sure with the NXT crowd. And if they're not going to be like agitated because they're always like flip-floppy with how they're feeling, but they seem to be really into the match. I again was really into the match. It was really solid. I thought NXT did well with making sure to open and close the NXT. Just was fantastic matches. And Carmelo at the end, Carmelo wind up getting the win. And I do think, you know, we I'm hoping we get some match for him at the next, at least if not at Roadblock, maybe at Stand and Deliver for Tyler Bate. I do think he's somebody that shouldn't be, not wrestling. I think he needs to be shown more because again he's fantastic. But again, Carmelo did say at the end that he was the only person that can take on Braun, and I do think it's very possible he may win the championship. I feel like what else is there left for Carmelo to do? There's nothing else left. And I like Braun. I do. I think he's an absolutely fantastic champion. But the fans are the fans and they complain. And so who else would be, at least I'm like, all right, if the person loses the belt, I'm okay with Carmelo taking it. I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, so we see. Uh we'll see how it goes. I mean, yeah, but the NXT crowd, it's we know what to expect with the NXT crowd, I feel. And I do think, at least with like we're thinking of Carmelo, for instance, I think Carmelo has it. Tyler, you might need to like make sure you put him in good storylines that maybe to fall in line with like a SmackDown or a Raw, because again the crowd is different at SmackDown and Raw than it is. I feel like NXT is a very niche crowd, very more tight knit crowd. You got like the randoms who might have just came to a wrestling show for the first time at a SmackDown or a Raw, or you got the ones who just want to kind of do the extra. And so again, I think it's a fantastic match. I thought it was again one of my favorites of the night. And so we shall see what they happens. Like I mean, I hope Carmel take the title. I mean, I hate when somebody who's really good and then they just go to the main roster. I'm like, they couldn't get the title, they couldn't touch the title. That'd be mad about Bianca. I was mad about that. For like, I'm like, why are we doing it? Like, why couldn't she touch the title? Like, she's too good to not have touched the title. And so I feel like he should have it before getting to the main roster, but we'll see. But what were your thoughts about this matchup?
So I do agree with something Bad Guy said a little bit earlier about I wish there was more time. Like I feel like we definitely could have cut out a lot of things. Most of whatever Hank was doing to have more time for the main event that they spent the entire week heavily promoting. I think it should have had more time. That's just my only thing. But I'm impressed that they did what they did in the amount of time that they had, but I'm not shocked. I think that I feel like it's very obvious that Carmelo's going to win. For the simple fact is I've noticed how little Braun has been on the show. Like he was only in one segment. It was backstage when they said that he will be teaming with Creed brothers against Indus and Jinder. That's the only time. And I think that's their way of kind of like they're kind of reprogramming our minds and getting us ready for the change in command, because it's going to be more Carmelo. So we see more Carmelo on the show and we're seeing less Braun, because I feel like once he loses the title, he's going straight to the main roster. So they want to get the audience prepared for that. So the less Braun, and I also kind of think the whole having them not, I would be into it. I wouldn't say all the time, obviously, because obviously transportation costs money. but the NXT crowd can be very toxic and do a whole lot. And a lot of times when you're watching a show, you don't, especially if you're a new watcher and you don't know a lot about it, you're going to mirror whatever the crowd is saying. So if the crowd is booing a certain person, even if they're not meant to be booed, but because they are on whatever they're on that day, that could affect a new viewer and kind of steer them away from someone who shouldn't be getting booed. So that's the only thing I would say. But fantastic match. I wish they would have had more time. I hope they revisit this later, especially at a PLE. And yeah, the time of him.
Oh, I don't know what happened with Shayna's internet, but I hope she will be back. Yep, she's coming back, guys. I don't know.
I said he was coming, and then they like snatched me. They said, "How dare you!" Like I said something that wasn't supposed to be said yet.
Okay. It's like, oh man. We'll see. We'll see what they'll do. Not the Hank. Like not the mind powers. Oh man. Hey, thank you for popping, and how are you? It might have been Hank. He might have heard you from the powers that be.
He cut it with the
I mean, I better stop before this happened to me next. I've been ranting about people for weeks. There's a lot of people I've been ranting about. Grayson, Jinder Mahal. It's probably gonna be me next week. They're gonna be like, sis, you talk too much stuff, and then surprise. But yes, it was an overall solid show. Again, I do think they opened and opening and closing was absolutely fantastic. But we will see. But before I get into the other stuff that we got going on, let's show you guys this brief little commercial from Women's Wrestling Talk. Super awesome. And so watch it really quickly, guys.
Hey peeps, TK Trinidad here, boss lady of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I want to say thank you so much for watching, because you've got millions of options. Plus, you don't have to worry about sharing your password to check us out. But while you're here, hopefully you know we have so many more shows to watch, like Turnbuckle Glam, Raw post-show, WoW post-show, AEW Dynamite post-show, Women's Wrestling Army post-show, NXT post-show, Impact Wrestling post-show, AEW Rampage and SmackDown Live post-show, On the Scroll, WWT Live, plus all of our interviews with the hottest women's wrestlers in the game. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com and follow us on all social media platforms at www.talkpod, and make sure to spread the word. That means send this to the group chat. Yes, even the person with the green bubble. Thanks again so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
See, I was trying to enjoy the nice commercial, and then here you guys come with these shenanigans. First of all, no. Jinder better go somewhere, okay? He better disappear. He can go to Delusion Land, because that means I won't have to see him, because I don't live in Delusion Land. So, and I will always hinder him. Always. To the end. Hindering. Okay? Jesus. But yes, it was a fantastic there were, again, fantastic opening, fantastic closing. I don't think it just, I have my thoughts. That would be a whole nother that would be a whole nother rant, a very long rant about my situation about WrestleMania. All I will say is it makes me sad, because like the Oscar and Bianca match, I love them both. We got badass Oscar, but we have Bianca, and she's amazing. And so I'm sad about that. And then Roman, who I hope they swerve everyone. TK's amazing. That is my, she's the boss lady. And then, while I'm hoping I am completely wrong, I do think they'll have my poor Roman, poor Joseph, the tribal chief, the greatness that he is, the man, the man of all men. Okay, like all of these things, I think they're gonna have him lose, and I can't deal, and I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get myself together to process that I might be losing him as my champ, but it's okay. You know, maybe that's a swerve and be like, "Who y'all thought?" Exactly. I don't even call. He don't even have his sizzle. He has not even a spark. He has exhaust. You know, when you cut the stove on and it makes the ticking sound, but nothing happens. That is Jinder Mahal right there. He doesn't even get all that. So I mean, I feel like Cody Rhodes is gonna take it, but I'm hoping I'm wrong, and I hope Roman just give me the 1,000 days because hello, look at him. I just want him to like swing that belt one time again, so I can be like, whoo, slow motion, slow motion. I can save that on my phone. But yes, I don't understand how Cody gets to get to the front of the line because he won. He do nothing else. He comes back in number 30, do a little bit of work after Walter did all this work because Walter worked. Excuse me, Gunther. He worked, and he gets to go to WrestleMania, I guess. But
There's a rule. There's a rule. If you
I
have
mean,
a certain level of pyro, you are owed a title shot.
I feel because he does have a lot of pyro. He does. He has a lot of pyro. So I just feel like we're gonna deal with, you know, Cody Rhodes crying right after he wins and give me some non-school promo that nobody asked for, and he might randomly talk about the fact that he has a biracial child. Who knows? Who knows? We might get this, and so I'm not looking forward to going to somebody who can just like I can be the sweat on him, and I'll be perfectly fine. If I got turned into some water droplets, I'll be fine. If going from that to hear Cody Rhodes shenanigans, I'm just like I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be depressed, and so. Just know, guys, I will be sad. Well, I don't know. I just feel like I said what I said, Jack. I said what I said. We'll see what happens, but I'm sad about that. But let's not go connect the whole another hour we don't need. We don't have. But we'll see. No, first of all, see, why am I gonna do this? No, I mean I don't care about 10 years, but whatever happened 10 years ago, he left. He left. Okay, he left. I want to come back all brand new after all those shenanigans we got, like all those shenanigans in the other company over there with those promos. It was pure shenanigans. Pure shenanigans. So I don't know. I guess, but he could beat somebody who I don't care about. You beat a scrub. You don't beat Roman Reigns. Now you gotta beat Roman Reigns, and I'm like, you're telling me tribal chief time? They're gonna stop these shenanigans. Okay? If I see one more picture of Cody Rhodes in Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, I'm flipping something. They're gonna stop these shenanigans. Okay? Racism, my behind. Y'all gonna stop these shenanigans. Okay, and like I said, I'm sure Cody Rhodes is a good guy, but I feel like how dare he be the one to beat Roman Reigns is beyond me. I still feel like if anybody should have ended the reign of terror, it should have been a family member, but The Rock wouldn't be sitting here. I'm telling you, I do have one on my my channel store. I do have a shenanigans. I do say it a lot. That is my thing. But we shall see. We shall see. I just feel like I'm gonna be in Chicago depressed, and I might need a couple of drinks. But you know, I just feel. You know what, Jack? I feel like we're gonna have a problem because I know you in person. Okay, so let's not do these. Let's not do this. But anyway, The Rock is doing God knows what, and so that's the person I thought maybe should have ended the reign of terror, even if it would have been like a really short, brief something, and then somebody beat The Rock. I would have been okay with that. But I guess The Rock wants to do everything under the sun, but come to WWE. He wants to be everywhere else. Everywhere else. You might have to get a block though, but we'll see. But this is the end. This is one of the whole rant. This is the end of the NXT recap show. Shay, tell the people where they can find you and what you have going on.
You can find me on Shay Sawyer _ I said on Shay Sawyer _ It's crazy stuff. You can find me at Shay Sawyer _ on any platform. That's what I meant to say. You can also catch me next Tuesday. I think that's actually Monday. I have a new episode from my podcast with Delusional Bad Guy in the chat. The Big Pop Theory podcast. It'll come. It's always a new episode every Monday. Tuesday, you can catch me again with this delusional man on Unpopular Review for the NXT After Show. Then you can catch me right back here for Women's Wrestling Army Review at 5 p.m. and then 7 p.m. right back here with this amazing. Is it this way? This amazing person Like, this is crazy. That's it. And also, Hank, stop touching my cords.
I do have a shenanigans. I believe it's on my. I do have my little channel store, and so it is on there because I was like, I do shenanigans, like my favorite word. My 8th grade history teacher, Miss Daniels. She was mad funny, and she used to always say about the tomfoolery and the shenanigans, and ever since it stuck. And so, sometimes we get this. So maybe we talk TK. We can put it for Women's Wrestling Talk. I feel like maybe all of us need to have some sayings for us on shows. And Jack is most certainly delusional because he likes, it's just the only time we agreed was about Jinder Mahal because nobody cares about Jinder Mahal. But, we agreed there.
Also,
but...
a Hank apologist.
But as for me, you can find me on most social media in Cat We Trust, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The E is the 3. I do have my Ruby Hardy interview that is out, so check that out. There's a couple of interviews I did do with Women's Wrestling Talk from Wow Wrestling. Check those out. I did one today, which should be on soon. I think next week. My new interview will be dropping also as well next week. So check that out. And again, as I said last week, me and Shay will be in Chicago WrestleMania weekend. Also with Jack. We're going to have a good time in Chicago and bring us our New York goodness because, hello, we are New York City and we are the bestest ever. Hello, hair flip. And we're bringing that to Chicago with thinking they have better pizza than New York, which is pure shenanigans. They might have better deep dish, but a slice of pizza in New York all day. We're going to bring us at the panel at Chicago's Comic-Con C2E2, talking about women in wrestling, women of color in wrestling. So that should be fun. So definitely, if you can, if you're not going to LA, if you can get to Chicago, we would love to see you there. But until next time, guys, we appreciate you. And actually, for this, we are going to have this happen actually that week. And so... Okay, see, yeah, but I'm trying to get off at a good note and here we do shenanigans. We will be having this actually very soon, in a few weeks. So that should be awesome on Unpopular Review. And I just need to bring this up because first of all, I just feel like I need to bring. How dare you put Buffalo in New York City? Nobody. There's a meme that has Michael Jackson on it, and they said, "What part of New York?" And it says Albany, and it's look of disgust because it's disgust. Buffalo's not even part of New York City. It is part of New York. But it's not New York City. When people say when you're from New York, nobody's going, "Oh, I'm from Buffalo." We're from the greatest 4 boroughs because we don't really, I guess Staten Island is there. I guess they're there or whatever. But let's not put those type of shenanigans out there. New York City all day. Nobody cares about Buffalo, New York. I'm sure there's some nice people there, but we don't care. We don't even acknowledge the rest of New York. It's always like, oh, there's other parts of New York we know, but we don't care. It's New York City all day. And so after all that, because I just had to do these shenanigans again, thank you guys as always for being absolutely fantastic. We love you guys for always hanging out with us every Thursday. It is always a blast. So I'll be trying to get you going on these rants. I'll be trying to be nice. I try to come in like I'm going to be a good person. I'm not going to rant or anybody in the yes say shenanigans. I'm like, now I have to rant. And so, but we do love you guys and we appreciate you guys for everything. And we will catch you guys next week for another episode, or rather recap of NXT. Till next week, guys. Bye.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.